Hello and welcome to Chapter 15. This covers life cycle nutrition, pregnancy, and lactation. These are your learning objectives. Nutritional choices during pregnancy have a dramatic impact on fetal growth and development. But even before you are pregnant, you want to be living a healthy lifestyle. You want to consider the following. Choose an adequate and balanced diet. Remember how important folate is during fetal development? Folate supplement should start 1 month before conception and continue throughout the first trimester to help prevent neural tube defects. Sources of folate include fortified grain products, legumes and seeds, as well as dark green leafy vegetables. Achieve and maintain a healthy body weight, be physically active, receive regular medical care, manage chronic conditions, and avoid harmful influences, cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, etc. Most of these are general healthy lifestyle choices. Growth and development during pregnancy. Development of three structures during pregnancy play critical roles to allow for fetal development. First is the placenta, which is a very metabolically active organ that develops inside the uterus early in pregnancy, through which the fetus receives nutrients and oxygen and returns carbon dioxide and other waste products to be excreted. Then you have the amniotic sac, which is a fluid-filled balloon-like structure that houses the developing fetus. Third, umbilical cord, the rope-like structure through which the fetus's veins and arteries reach the placenta, the route of nourishment and oxygen to the fetus, and the route of waste disposal from the fetus. The placenta and umbilical cord are attached, which is where the exchange of nutrients occur. The placenta and associated structures. Basically, the placenta contains both fetal and maternal blood vessels. Maternal blood vessels transfer oxygen and nutrients to the fetus, as well as removes waste from the fetus. By doing this, the placenta acts as a fetus's lungs, digestive system, and kidneys. There is a transfer of nutrients occurring through villi, similar to the GI tract. There is no blood exchange between mother and fetus. I ask that you pause this presentation momentarily to see if you can answer the following questions. Critical periods. Times of intense development and rapid cell division. Specific cellular activities occur only during these times. So there are specific time periods where certain features develop. If that's disrupted for any reason, the damage is irreversible. For example, your eyes, central nervous system, heart, ears, arms and legs, as well as genitalia. Damage during these periods has permanent consequences for the fetus's life and health. If it doesn't happen during the critical period, it doesn't happen later. Critical period for neural tube development is between 17 and 30 days of gestation, and that's why supplementation before pregnancy is so important. Here you can see the critical periods of different organs. This is when each is most vulnerable to toxins or nutrient deficiencies. Developmental origins of disease. Fetal programming. Mother's nutrition influences gene expression in fetus. This influences diseases in adulthood. Research has shown that the mother's nutrition can influence the fetus's gene expression. This influence can affect the fetus all the way into adulthood. Chronic diseases, overnutrition, and maternal obesity increases the risk for chronic illnesses in adulthood. Fast facts regarding maternal weight. Weight prior to conception and weight gained during pregnancy influence infant birth weight. Gaining too much or too little weight could mean the fetus gains too much or too little. Underweight women have higher rates of preterm births. Birth before 37 weeks is considered preterm. At least half of pregnant women in the United States are overweight or obese prior to conception. Obese women have higher rates of medical complications like gestational hypertension and gestational diabetes. Gestational diabetes or hypertension lasts only during pregnancy and resolves after delivery. Macrosemia is if birth weight is above the 90th percentile. This increases the risk of cesarean delivery. Macrosemia means abnormally large. Weight gain during pregnancy. Fetal growth and maternal health depends on sufficient maternal weight gain. Correlates closely with infant birth weight and is a predictor of health and development. Mother's weight gain influences infant birth weight, and infant birth weight is a strong predictor of health and development of the infant. Recommended weight gains are based on the number of fetuses as well as beginning weight. So a normal weight woman will ideally gain about 3.5 pounds during the first trimester and 1 pound per week throughout thereafter. Underweight women should gain more, overweight women should gain less. Recommended weight gains. So this you can see it breaks it down by BMI category and the recommended weight gain for a single birth. So it just depends on how much weight you should or should not gain. And then if you have twins, so a second fetus, the weight gain would increase. Components of weight gain during pregnancy. This slide shows where the roughly 30 pounds of weight gain goes. Weight loss after pregnancy. Return to pre-pregnancy weight. Weight retention is likely if weight gain was greater than needs during pregnancy. So if you gain excess weight in pregnancy, the more weight you are likely to hold on to after pregnancy. Women tend to retain a couple of pounds with each pregnancy, even if they gained the appropriate amount of weight. Weight retention increases the risk for diabetes and hypertension and chronic diseases later in life, both during future pregnancies and as a chronic disease later in life. Diet and exercise help with weight loss. Exercise during pregnancy. Exercise during most pregnancies is recommended. Oftentimes, women who exercise during pregnancy report less discomfort. Benefits of exercise include improved cardiovascular fitness, limits excessive weight gain, prevents or manages gestational diabetes and hypertension, manages stress levels, and prepares for labor and carrying additional weight. Exercise guidelines during pregnancy. Always speak with your doctor first. You can stay active, you just may need to adjust intensity, duration, and activity type. Excessively high body temperature and dehydration can harm the fetal development. These are examples of do's and don'ts. Guidelines for a healthy pregnancy. Good nutrition, which should begin before pregnancy as well as during pregnancy and after. Appropriate weight gain. You don't want to gain too much or too little. You want to stay physically active. Take prenatal supplements as prescribed and avoid harmful substances like alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, etc. Nutrient needs during pregnancy. Pregnancy increases basal metabolic rate and therefore increases calorie needs, particularly after the first trimester. Energy needs during the second trimester require an additional 340 calories per day. During the third trimester, require an additional 450 calories per day. For a 2,000 calorie daily intake, these added calories represent about 15 to 20% more food energy than before pregnancy. So you are not, quote unquote, eating for two. Carbohydrate. The RDA during pregnancy is 175 grams, and this provides adequate fuel for fetal development. Protein. The RDA for pregnancy is an additional 25 grams per day higher than for non-pregnant women. I ask that you pause this presentation momentarily and see if you can match the appropriate items together. Blood production and cell growth. Fetal cells are created at a tremendous rate. Maternal red blood cell mass expands. This increase in red blood cells is to help meet the needs of the mother and fetus. This means there's a lot of need for synthesis of DNA and new cells. All nutrients are important, but these four are specifically important because of their key roles in the synthesis of DNA and new cells. Folate needs increase from 400 to 600 milligrams per day. Vitamin B12 is needed to activate folate. Vegans need supplementation. Iron, needed to support increased blood volume and provide the needs of placenta and fetus. Zinc is needed for DNA and RNA synthesis and therefore cell development. Nutrients for bone development. Vitamin D. Deficiency interferes with calcium metabolism. Remember, vitamin D promotes calcium absorption, so it's needed for bone growth. Calcium. Absorption and retention increase. Needed to calcify the fetus's bones. Keep in mind, peak bone mass is not reached until 30s, so adequate calcium is very important, especially for young women. Other nutrients include phosphorus, magnesium, and fluoride. These three, plus calcium and vitamin D, are the bone-building minerals and are needed during pregnancy to produce healthy fetal bones and teeth. Practices incompatible with pregnancy. Alcohol consumption. Avoid alcohol entirely. It can lead to irreversible mental and physical retardation, fetal alcohol syndrome, and SIDS. SIDS is sudden infant death syndrome. Medicinal drugs. Consult your physician before using. Always ask a doctor first and weigh the risks versus the benefits. Herbal supplements. You can seek physician advice. Some herbs can be safe, others are harmful, including herbal teas. Illicit drugs. Avoid all illicit drugs. May cause impaired growth and development and even potentially death. Other dangerous practices. Smoking and chewing tobacco. Harmful effects are magnified during pregnancy. Avoid nicotine completely and secondhand smoke. Cigarette smoking during pregnancy and infant exposure to secondhand smoke increases the risk for SIDS. Foodborne illness. You have an increased risk of listeriosis. Pregnant women are 20 times more likely to get listeriosis than other healthy adults. Listeriosis is a foodborne illness that can be killed through cooking or pasteurization. Avoid hot dogs, lunch meats, unpasteurized milks, and cheeses. Risks associated with illness include diarrhea, vomiting, and fever. Risky behaviors. Vitamin mineral megadoses. Excessive vitamin A can lead to fetal malformations. Vitamin A is particularly notorious. Supplementation is only given if a deficiency is determined, which is rare. Always remember, more does not equal better. Caffeine. High intake can lead to miscarriage and low birth weight. Low intakes of caffeine do appear safe, maybe about 1 to 2 cups per day. Restrictive dieting. Low carbohydrate diets that put the body in ketosis deprive the fetal brain of the needed glucose and may impair cognitive development. Restrictive dieting also can potentially lack other nutrients needed for pregnancy. Nutrition during lactation. Lactation is also known as breastfeeding. So lactation, production and secretion of breast milk for the purpose of nourishing an infant. Mammary glands secrete milk. Energy intake. May need about 500 calories per day above normal needs during the first 6 months of lactation. This can also potentially help women lose weight. Carbohydrate intake increases to replace the glucose used to make lactose in breast milk. Protein and fat recommendations remain the same during lactation as during pregnancy. Most women need at least 1,800 calories a day to receive all the nutrients required for successful lactation. Severe energy restriction may hinder milk production. The recommendation for total water, including drinking water, other beverages, and foods, during lactation is 3.8 liters per day. Beverages, including drinking water, should provide about 3.1 liters per day, or roughly 13 cups. Despite misconception, a mother who drinks more fluid does not produce more breast milk. Breast milk is beneficial for many reasons, including its nutrient composition and high bioavailability. Prolactin is responsible for milk production. Mammary glands secrete milk. Oxytocin causes the ejection of milk. This ejection is called the letdown reflex. Prolactin and oxytocin are hormones. The letdown reflex is the reflex that forces milk to the front of the breast. Benefits of breastfeeding for infants. Provides the appropriate composition and balance of nutrients with high bioavailability. Provides hormones that promote physiological development. Improves cognitive development, and protects against a variety of infections and illnesses, including diarrhea, ear infections, and pneumonia. Benefits continued for infants. May protect against some chronic diseases later in life, including diseases such as diabetes, obesity, atherosclerosis, asthma, some cancers, and hypertension. Protects against food allergies, reduces the risk of SIDS, and supports healthy weight. Breastfeeding benefits for mothers. Contracts the uterus, delays the return of regular ovulation, thus lengthening birth intervals. Conserves iron stores, may protect against breast and ovarian cancer, and reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and heart disease. Increases energy expenditure, which may contribute to weight loss. Other benefits of breastfeeding include cost and time savings from not needing medical treatment for childhood illnesses or leaving work to care for sick infants, cost and time savings from not needing to purchase and prepare formula, even after adjusting for added foods in the diet of lactating mother, environmental savings to society from not needing to manufacture, package, and ship formula and dispose of the packaging, convenience of not having to shop for and prepare formula. There's an estimated savings of $1,200 to $1,500 in the first year. Maternal energy and nutrient needs during lactation. I ask that you pause for a moment and see if you can answer the following questions. Summary points. Weight gains, weight gain patterns in pregnancy. 3.5 pounds gained in the first trimester and 1 pound per week thereafter. Energy and nutrient needs during pregnancy. The second trimester increases about 340 calories per day and increases to about 450 calories per day during the third trimester. Carbohydrate, 175 grams per day, and this is to provide adequate fuel or glucose for the developing fetal brain. Protein, women require an additional 25 grams per day during pregnancy.